Hello and welcome everyone. In the previous tutorial, we have discussed some of the basic ways to assess the data from our model. Now in this tutorial, we will deep dive into this topic and we will illustrate how we can insert, update, select, delete and even filter data objects from the Django model. So we will start off this video by discussing how we can insert data objects. Then we will understand how we can select or retrieve data objects. In the next phase, we will discuss how we can filter data objects from a query set, and then we will discuss how we can update and even delete data objects from our model. So without any further delay, let's jump to the very first topic and let's understand about the concept of inserting data objects. Now what we have done, we have already discussed how to insert data objects in the Django model in our previous tutorial. Now to insert the data objects, first we need to define the object for our model class, and while defining the object we have to specify certain attribute values. Once the model object has been defined, we just need to use the save method. So what we have done in the previous tutorial, we have defined this model which name is profile, and we have also defined the string representation for this model which consists of a full name consisting first name and last name. Now how we were assessing this model class, so what I will do, I will open my command prompt. Now here you can see I have opened my command prompt where I have already activated my virtual environment and I am in the same directory where my manage.py file is also located. So to assess the model, what we were doing, we were using the Python API which comes with Django. So first what we need to do, we need to use that API with the help of the Python shell. So I will type python manage.py shell, and with this it will open an interactive console which we can utilize to interact with our model. Now here you can see our interactive console has been running. What I will do, I will import the profile model which is there in the models.py file of the home application. So I will write from home.models import profile. So in this way we have imported the profile class. Now if I want to insert data into this model, what I have to do, I have to define an object for this. So let me define an object. I will name this object as p1, then the class which is profile, and within this class I have to define different attribute values. So very first attribute was first name. Let me specify first name as John. Then the next attribute was last name. Let me specify its value as Jones. After this there was age. Let me specify its value as 24. Then there was contact, and in the last we have email. So I will specify some sample email in it. Now once we have defined this object, what we have to do, we have to use the save method with it. So I have to type p1.save, and when I hit enter, this data object will be inserted into the model. Now let me quickly save one more data in it. So here I have defined this object p2. Now to save this, again I will use p2.save method, and in this way we can insert data objects in our model. Now let's move forward and let's understand how we can select data objects. Now there are multiple ways through which we can select data objects. Let me quickly come back to my console. Now let me name a variable records. Let's first understand how we can fetch all the records, or we can say all the data objects from our model. For this we use the method all. So what I will do, I will define this variable as records. Let me name as all records. Now first is the class name, then as I want to fetch objects, so I will type dot objects, and then I have to define dot all, and let's hit enter. Now if I print this, here you can see it has returned a query set which consists all the objects that are there in this model. So I guess there are 5 data objects in this model. So this was the way through which we can fetch all the data objects. But what if I want to fetch only one data object? What we will do in that case? So there is one more method in Django. What we have to do, instead of using the all function, we have to use the get function. Now what this get function will do, so the get function will take some lookup argument, and based on that it will return the single object. Now if we try to select multiple objects using the get method, that in that case the get method will return an error. So let's understand how we can fetch a record. So I will simply type r equal to, then as I told you, profile is the class. Then as I want to fetch objects, so I will type objects, then the get method. Now in this generally we use the primary key to fetch any single element. because it is a unique key for each data object. So we will use this keyword pk equal to, and then we have to specify the primary key value. So for example, I want to fetch the object which is having a primary key 2. Let me hit enter, and now if I print this, here you can see it has returned this object. String representation is Chris Evans. And now what I can do, I can use this object to fetch different attribute values. For example, if I type r dot first name, it will return the first name. In the same way, I can use it to fetch the age as well, and I can use it to fetch all the different attributes of this data object. Now let's come to the next topic and let's understand how we can filter data objects. So basically there are two ways in Django through which we can filter data objects. One way is by using the filter method. Now filter method also takes different lookup parameters, and based upon that it will return single or multiple data objects that matches the given lookup parameter. Moreover, there is one more method whose name is exclude. So what this function will do, it will uh, return all the objects excluding the one which matches the given lookup parameter. So let's understand their use with the help of an example. Again, I will come back to my console. So how we can use the filter method? So let me define an object. Again, I will use the profile class and then objects, and then I have to use the filter function. In the filter function, we can define different lookup parameters. So for example, if I want to fetch the record whose age is 27, and again if I print q, here you can see it has returned a query set with this data objects. Now we can also use different options with these lookup parameters. Let me tell you what we can do. So for example, if I want to fetch the records whose name starts with J, so what I will do in that case, I will type first name and then double underscore. Then there is option which is start with. Let me define the character as J for it. Sorry, the keyword was wrong. It is starts with. There is one S between T and W. That's why it has returned this error. So if I hit enter, now if I print Q, here you can see it has returned two data objects in the query set. Both of the data objects, the first name of both of the data objects starts with J. Then we can also use greater than or greater than equal to, less than or less than equal to. How we can do that? Let me use this. So instead of using first name, what I will use this filter on age. See, GTE is used to represent greater than equal to, and here what I am going to do, I am going to fetch the data objects where the age is greater than equal to 18. Let me hit enter, and if I again print the value of q, here you can see it has returned all the objects whose age is greater than equal to 18. In the same way, what we can do, we can use greater than with the help of gt, and if I specify here 27, print q, and here you can see it has returned all those records whose age is greater than 27. And in the same way, we can also use less than equal to. Let me specify 27 for this one. If I print here, you can see it has returned two records. In the same way, we can use less than with the help of lt, and here you can see it has returned only one record. So in this way, we can use the filter function. Now let's understand the concept of exclude function. The exclude function basically returns a query set with the objects excluding those data objects that matches the specified lookup parameter. Moreover, just like using the options with the filter method, we can also use options with the exclude function as well. So let me quickly show you one basic example where I will use the exclude function instead of filter, and again I will use first name starts with J. So as we have seen in the previous example that there were two objects whose name was starting with J. So what this exclude function will do, it will exclude all those records whose name start with J, and it will return only those records whose name does not start with J. So if I hit enter, and if I again print this, here you can see it has only returned those data objects whose name does not start with J. So in this way, we can use both filter and exclude method to filter out or select different type of records based upon our requirement. Let's move forward and let's discuss about the next topic where we will understand how we can update the data objects. So till now what we have done, we have inserted record, we have understood how we can select all the records or single record, or how we can filter a query set in Django. Now let's understand how we can update it. To update any record, or we can say to update any data object, what we need to do, first we need to fetch that single data object, and then what we can do, we have to use the assignment operator to change its value. So let me quickly show you one example. So instead of using filter, I will use the get function, and I will fetch the data object whose primary key is 2. If I show you this, the profile is Chris Evans. Now let me print the age of this data object. So age is 41. Now how I can change this value? So I will type q.age, and to change its value I will use the equal to sign. After this I will specify the updated value. I will specify its value as 28. Now after this again I have to use the save method to reflect changes in my model. Now again if I use the q.age, this time it will return 28 because we have updated the age value for the data object. Now with this we have come to the last topic where we will understand how we can delete data objects. Now in Django what we can do, we can either delete a single data object at once, or we can also use the filter method or the exclude method to delete multiple objects at the same moment. Again let me show you one example related to it. So let me name this object as a record, and again I will use the get method this time also, because I want to fetch only one data object. So I will define this pk is equal to 4. So here what I am doing, I am trying to fetch the data object whose primary key is 4. Now if I print the record, so here you can see the record is John Jones. Now to delete this record I have to specify record dot delete parenthesis as well and hit enter. Now if I use the all method to fetch all the records, here you can see this John Jones record has been removed from this query set because we have deleted this. Now let's see how we can delete multiple objects at once. For this what I will do, I will specify this object as records, and instead of using get I will use the filter method, and I will filter the objects based on last name. Now here you can see there are multiple records whose name ends with S. So James Rogers, in Rogers there is S, then there is S in Evans as well, and there is S in Hanks as well. So there is one option with name ends with, and I will specify its value as S. Now if I print these records, here you can see three data objects are there in this query set. Now if I type records dot delete, it will delete all these three data objects from the query set. Now if I again print all the query set, here you can see only one data object is been left in this query set. So I hope with this you all understand how we can insert, update, select, delete and even filter data objects in Django. And with this we have come to the end of this video tutorial. Thank you so much for watching this video. We will see you in the next one.